Update. Am I the a-hole for cutting his daughter off and taking away the things I was doing for her after she had some type of relationship with a woman her father cheated with? Original post. I, female 29, usually stay with my now ex-boyfriend Carl, male 38, on weekends. He lives with his daughter, female 16, when she's in due to joint custody. He works a job that he hates because he has no opportunities for career growth. So 7 months ago, he started a company with an associate, Gabby, female 35. She's definitely successful and knowledgeable, so my concern was what would happen if she ever decided to cut him off. I'm mentioning this because his contribution to their business was bringing in clients but not anything technical. For the past 5 months, he stayed out late while working on their plans. I never had any reason for doubt or suspicion until he went to meet her on a Sunday afternoon. I didn't say anything because I know starting a business requires a lot of effort, but it's odd to allow an associate to interfere with family life. 2 weekends ago, she showed up and berated him for cheating on her. We were hanging out at his place with his 2 brothers, mother-in-law, his daughter, and sister-in-law. Gabby showed up knocking at the door while Carl was in the shower. I started getting weirded out when his family seemed hesitant to answer the door. His brother finally went to talk to her, but she walked past him and confronted me. She asked about our relationship. I'll admit that I was a bit rude because I got defensive. His other brother went to get Carl, and it all turned into a crap show. At this point, I'm disgusted, and I don't know who was the real girlfriend and who was the side chick. Also, it's worth noting that she accused his family of betraying her. Carl remained vague when I demanded answers, and I felt like slapping him, but I controlled myself. She stormed out after an ugly exchange. I broke up with him that same day and haven't been able to find my way back into a good mental state. I can't believe anything he says, so whatever he explains will be a lie. This is where I might be the a-hole. I made the decision to pull my support for his daughter. I had been paying for a makeup subscription box, but canceled it. She was getting her prom dress as a loan from a friend of mine who has 4 girls. I told my friend what happened, and we agreed that his daughter doesn't deserve any of my help. I also kicked them both out of my streaming services, will not help with the history school project, and will not keep her in my magazine subscription plan. Carl reached out, trying to discuss what I'm doing about his daughter. He said she's just a teenager and shouldn't have to pay for his mistakes. I agree that she has no power to stop him from doing bad things or from being a liar. And I know that she wouldn't be in a position to tell or warn me that her dad was cheating. But she's almost 17 next month. She's very mature, and she's definitely capable of telling right from wrong. She had 0 problems getting stuff and receiving help and favors from me and was comfortable asking for things. She's not a brat or the demanding type. She low-key asked for stuff and I was happy to help. I'm sure she also benefited from Gabby because it makes sense, since I'm under the impression that Gabby was no stranger to her either. I told him, let Gabby do it, and he tried to complain about how Gabby vandalized their website. She took their page down, and all it shows is a black screen. He says she locked him out of all the logins, and supposedly had all her contacts block him. The only thing giving me a little joy right now is imagining him naked and holding his balls out in the cold. Am I the a-hole? My friends are divided over this, not because of him, but because they say she's just a teenager. Now for the top comments before reading the update. How long have you known his daughter? She knew her dad was cheating on you and didn't care enough to say anything. Also, you broke up with her dad. Do you have any desire to maintain contact with him, his daughter, or any part of his life? If not, then you did the right thing. You should inform him and her about needing to find a new dress, so she doesn't get entirely blindsided, only because that's a formative experience for teenagers. But you don't owe her any favors or further involvement. However, if you've been involved with raising her for years, you may want to reconsider your approach and wait until after the anger has subsided a bit before making any decisions about her. Just my 2 cents. Not the a-hole. I've known her since she was 15. I don't want to continue the relationship because I don't trust her, neither her dad nor anyone in their family. It sucks, but why would you continue to help out someone else's kid? Tell Carl that she's not your kid, so maybe her father should start paying for some of this stuff so she doesn't feel like she's being punished. Block him. It's not her fault, but it's not your responsibility either. If Carl had made half the effort earning a living as he did trying to get his D wet, he could afford things for his own daughter and have time to help with her history project. Now for the update. Thanks to everyone who took the time to reply. I think the consensus was about his daughter. I will not be contacting her at all. I reached out to Gabby via social media, and she replied. I explained my position and that I didn't know about her. Hence, I was very rude and reacted with hostility. We exchanged messages. She said that initially, he told her that we were in an open relationship that was about to end. They were talking for months before they began their relationship. She said he first introduced his kid, then his younger brother, and that she met his mom when Paul invited her for lunch and had his mom show up without telling her. Also, she said that his mom was less than friendly and that his mother made a small scene because she decided to pick a fight with her own boyfriend. He and mother-in-law are currently broken up. There's no way that she's making this up. Mother-in-law treated that guy like crap. About his daughter, Paul used to visit Gabby on some weekends and would leave his kid at Gabby's place because they bonded over DIY projects. Now I know where his daughter got her fairy, witchy, fantasy, and elf polymer clay jewelry and hair accessories from, so I guess his working on weekend gigs was a lie. She said they became a couple about a month or two after starting their company because she wouldn't accept an open relationship. He told her that we were done, when in fact, we never broke up. Had a crisis, nothing. Gabby mentioned that her dad freaking hates him and that things began to get rough because of things he did and her dad noticed. She said her dad and other family members always met for Saturday dinner or Sunday brunch at a particular restaurant, and that her dad noticed how she always paid for Paul and his kid. And if Paul ever paid for his food, he didn't pay for hers. She said her dad called her out because he usually paid for everyone, his treat, his family. And he was getting very uncomfortable about Paul. He paid for Paul to avoid making a scene, but he was fed up. So her dad told Paul he expected to be treated for a change, as a hostile joke, when they arrived at the restaurant, and Paul was very offended. Later, Paul told her that her dad's remark was a put-down. She also said that her best friend raised concerns about him, and that everything started to crumble because he didn't attend her family's Christmas lunch as he promised. He remained a bit low-key during the holidays and claimed to have influenza. He used both of us, but he took far more advantage of her because she made material things available. And while I don't know her except for this situation, her messages show that she's very affected but mostly angry, and I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up destroying him. She repeatedly mentioned that he deserved to have his life ruined. I didn't know that Paul didn't get an MBA like he told me. He never worked the 2 jobs he claimed to have, which he also put on his resume. She found out because she paid for background checks and other tools when things started not adding up. Supposedly, this was part of why she started testing his abilities and had been thinking about pulling the plug business-wise. She says it's all bullshit and that he's very insecure about his social standing. She told me a lot of stuff, but in a nutshell, I'm going to get tested for STDs and have already told my family what happened. I'm leaving it at that, because writing about it really irritates me for being stupid enough to believe him. Thanks again. This whole situation is a masterclass in why you should never ignore red flags. The ex lied about everything: his relationship, his job, his education, and somehow still had the audacity to act offended when people didn't cater to him. The daughter is just a casualty in all this, but wow. Imagine finding out your dad is not just a cheater, but also a full-time con artist. Hope OP gets tested and then blocks everyone involved. Red flags. I mean, is it possible the dad has just always done this? I knew a girl in elementary school who casually mentioned that her daddy had 3 wives, and when asked, she admitted that she never even thought to mention it to any of his other wives, because all of them knew her, so obviously they knew about each other. Obviously, it's a bit different because she's like 17, but maybe she's been so used to it she doesn't view it as strange. I hate to assume a kid is bad, I guess. How do you get background checks done? Did she say what services she used? That seems like it should be done right at meeting someone nowadays. She didn't say, but I'm assuming it may be a service used by HR companies. Also, she said that she corroborated his supposed graduation year with the public PDF document from that university's graduation records, and his name wasn't there, not in PDFs from 5 years back or 5 years forward. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not disciplining my children for spoiling their new stepfather's birthday? I have 2 kids with my ex, age 14 and 12. It's been 10 years since my ex and I broke up, and we're not on the best of terms. All communication is generally through an app unless speaking face-to-face, which is rare. She got married in August of last year. Her husband's birthday was last weekend, and according to her, on the day of, she had a whole day planned for her, him, and the kids. But the kids had rotten attitudes the whole day and spoiled his birthday dinner that night with his family. She claims they refused to wish him a happy birthday, tried to get out of spending the day with them, and were sullen at dinner. And when she talked to them about it on Sunday, they told her they didn't see why they had to celebrate her husband when she never wants them to celebrate me. That's referring to the fact that I always took my kids shopping for gifts for their mom for her birthday and for Mother's Day, and I'd let them drop off the gifts on her birthday if I had them, or I'd send them to their moms with the gifts if her birthday fell during her custody time. The kids typically ask. I know they have asked her to do the same for me, and she refuses, which bothers them a lot. My ex has disliked me doing that. She said it's trying to make her look like a bad mom or parent, because she won't do the same for our kids. There's also bad blood surrounding the relationship between her husband and the kids. She wanted them to keep it from me that she was dating someone, but they didn't. That's been a sticking point ever since, too. The kids don't like him. They mostly just ignore him, but the birthday celebration made that difficult. Add the fact that she has said no to them when they asked for her help in getting stuff for me, and it's all very messy. And honestly, I don't care. My kids didn't do anything dangerous. They also didn't make a big scene. For me, it's not great, but I'm not invested in those relationships over there. My ex expected me to carry on the consequences she set for the kids at their house for their behavior on her husband's birthday, but I didn't. She realized this when she saw our daughter with her friends on Wednesday, and my ex was mad enough to come by the house and yell at me. She said I should be presenting a united front with her on this and demanding they treat her husband better as their third parent. I just told her to leave and close the door. Then, yesterday, my kids saw her outside the diner they typically go to with friends on Thursdays. They said she didn't look happy, so I guess she's getting ready to confront me about it again, potentially. Am I the a-hole for not disciplining the kids for the birthday incident? Now for the top comments. That is her husband, not their dad. I would honestly say if she confronts you again, if you showed me respect, they might show him respect. Right now, they see no reason to even show him the smallest amount. And she forced them to go spend a day with someone she knows they don't like. To her, he's their new second dad, and she's mad they don't agree with her. Heck, maybe they could have had a great relationship with him if this had all been handled better. But if she thinks I'm going to do the hard work to improve the relationships in her household while she does everything she can to make them worse, then she's got another thing coming. Get your kids into counseling. They need some place to help them deal with the crazy. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to date as a single mom, even though it upsets one of my friends who wants me to try dating her brother? I, 30 female, am a single mom to 11-year-old twins. I haven't dated and never had a boyfriend or any relationship. My twins were conceived in a pretty awful way, but I love my kids. And I have done everything to provide them with a good life or the best life I could give them. For a few years now, I've had some friends who have always been super great about things. But now I'm having issues with one of my friends. Several months ago, my kids and I went to a barbecue party she hosted, and I briefly met her brother. After the barbecue, he told her he was interested in me, and she's been on a mission to try and set us up ever since. But I told her numerous times I'm not interested. She gets more upset the more I refuse, and has asked me why. Even when I explained it to her, she said a single parent has the right to date and have their own life. And she said I deserve a good partner and that her brother is a good guy, and we'd be great together. The truth of it all is, I don't trust myself to date while my kids are under 18, or heck, even while my kids live with me. I was raised in a toxic household and was left with many self-esteem issues from that. My parents lived in the same house with their respective spouses, and all four treated me like crap. It was unusual and unconventional, and it didn't work because of their personalities. I was told every day how disgusting and ugly I was, and I internalized it and never made friends or connections outside the house because of them. I still lived with them when I got pregnant, when I was essayed by the son of a friend of one of them. Getting pregnant was what kicked off my drive to make a better life for us. My kids looking like me is what made me stop seeing myself as disgusting and ugly, because my babies are beautiful, and I never want them to feel like I did. Loving them helped me love myself, or at least hate myself less. I have worked at that so hard for them. Our lives weren't always easy, but I have fought for my kids and worked my butt off to give them better. There were times when a partner would have made our situation easier financially, and my kids may have benefited from a stepdad. But I don't have the best instincts when it comes to people. I know that, and I know that not all step-parents are good. Not all are bad either. But I know I could get us in a mess so fast by trusting the wrong person or entering the wrong relationship. I would never judge another single parent for dating, but I don't want to risk my kids because of my issues. I don't want to lose a friend over this, and it's not about saying her brother is a bad guy or that I don't trust or believe her, but even good people can have a bad relationship. I also don't want to sound judgmental towards single parents who date. I think my friend sees it as all that because it's her brother, and he already has an interest in me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If you are not interested in dating for whatever reasons, it's your choice. Your friend should respect that. May I suggest therapy if you can? It would help you in many ways. I don't mean that in a bad way. Therapy is very beneficial. I did get some free therapy in the past. It wasn't the best, and I think it being free didn't help. But it was all I could do. Right now, I wouldn't be able to afford more professional therapy either. In the future, it's something I'd look into though. Also, another good reason would be that step-parents are the biggest danger to any kid. Having a love life should never trump your kid's safety, and frankly, many people move on way too quickly when their kids are not ready for the change. Then cue all sorts of drama. OP, you're doing the right thing here. Not the a-hole. Not even a tiny breath of being one. You are an amazing, strong woman who is dedicated to giving her children a good life. Your friend seems to be over-invested in seeing you in a relationship with her brother, but that's her problem. You are the only person who knows what works for you in your life, not anyone else. I would give one word of warning for you to consider, however. At some point, your children, no matter how much they love you or how close you all are going to begin to detach themselves from you. They will develop new friends, interests, opinions, and even leave for college. And this will be healthy, and in fact, will be another proof of what a great job you will have done in raising well-rounded, emotionally healthy, strong individuals. But do make sure that you are prepared for this. If you can afford to, perhaps consider seeing a therapist, partly to unpack some of the trauma you are still dealing with, but also to give you some coping strategies for the future. Either way, I have nothing but respect for the way you have been dealing with the horrible hand you got dealt. I'm prepared for them to get their own lives going more independently. I'm excited for it. I want to see where my kids will go in the future. That's not something I was always able to imagine. But it's happening already, and I'm loving it. Seeing my kids grow and develop as their own people has been amazing. I just hope if they want college someday, I'll be able to help them out with that financially. I can't afford a therapist right now, but it's something I want to look at again in the future.